Well, new legislation means that separating couples who are having a dispute over their children must undergo mediation before, or ideally instead of, going to family court. Here to tell us more, we welcome mediator John Green and family lawyer Carol Powell. Morning, you guys.
Good morning.
1/3 of all marriages end in separation. Bit grim, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't realise those stats. So this is an issue that's important to, well, to many people. What are the changes, or what are they currently, and how have they changed?
Well, the most significant change is that parents are now being encouraged, required in fact, to try and resolve matters relating to the care of their children themselves without, or instead of referring those sorts of things to the court. So, I mean, the parents know these children best. I mean, there's lots of good reasons why they should be the ones that make decisions about the care of their children.
Absolutely. What factors can make it, in some cases, easier and in some cases worse for children when parents are separating?
I guess the thing that's most difficult for children is their parents, the people that were closest to them, the people they trust and rely upon in conflict. Yeah. So conflict is bad for children, basically. And a little bit of conflict, kids are resilient, they can get through it. Yeah. But conflict that goes on and on can be very seriously bad for them. So,
and then the children should be number one in this process, but I would imagine that's not always the case, that sometimes, you know, the conflict can take over everything.
So the legislation says that the children have to be the focus of attention, but the truth is, I think, when you're going through probably the breakup of the most serious relationship you've had in your life, it's very hard to think about the consequences for others. So I think parents are well-meaning, that they intend to care for their children, but they are also going through a really difficult time.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah. It's very hard for people to separate their feelings and emotions from what's going on, so they can stand back and look objectively at the sorts of issues that they need to think about. So that,
which are what, generally speaking, first off?
Where the children are going to live, you know, how they're going to live their lives, where they're going to go to school, religious instruction, birthdays, you know, holidays, just about anything and everything you can think about that affects the lives of children.
And so these things can be discussed within this mediation?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How does it work? Talk me through the process.
Perhaps I should do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So typically the mediator will meet with each of the parents or whoever it is, so it's sometimes other caregivers as well, ahead of time to talk to them about the process and to check that it's suitable for mediation. The mediation itself is a fluid process, so different people do different things, but big picture, the mediator encourages the parties to talk about what's important for them and what's important for their children, and then to break the conflict into chunks so that they don't just go, you know how when you're in an argument you tend to just repeat yourself and the other person repeats themselves and talk over the top of one another.
And sometimes you can get fixated, I guess, on one particular thing that's really bugging you.
So instead we chunk it up and then get them to work all the way through each topic before they move on to another topic. And it's the mediator's role to keep them focused centrally on the needs of the children.
And is it binding? I mean, you get things and outcomes in writing when you're sitting there? How does
so typically they reach, I mean, most often parties do reach agreement at mediation. They can choose the level of how binding it's going to be, if you like, but typically there'd be a written agreement, and if they want to, they can take that along to court and apply for a consent order, so they can even get it blessed by the court if they need to.
Okay. What are the situations where mediation is not appropriate?
Where there are issues of violence, drug dependency, power imbalances, there's lots of things that can impact on whether somebody can participate effectively in the process, and that's really the focus of the first stage of the mediation, the preliminary assessment.
Yeah. And how long does it actually take from go to woe? I guess that's a piece of string.
Well, it's a piece of string, but if you're talking about, say, the Family Dispute Resolution Centre, a client will ring and will probably be put in touch with a mediator within the first day of the phone call, and will probably meet that mediator, if they're available, within the next, say, week. And then it's a question of what they need to do to get ready. So sometimes they'll do a parenting through separation course, which I think is a fantastic course and would encourage every parent to do.
No matter what.
No matter what. It's a really, really good course, and it's free, so why why not? And sometimes they might need some counselling, they might need to get some legal advice. So there are various things that they might need to do to get ready. Typically that might take a few weeks. So woe to go, best case scenario might be 3 or 4 weeks. Sometimes it can take a while longer.
How do you deal with, if you're in a mediation situation, how do you deal with heated parties going nuts at each other? Because I'm sure that happens
Happens a lot.
It's a natural part of conflict.
That's a whole sort of week-long workshop. There are a whole variety of ways, but I guess big picture, people need to feel heard. So the role of the mediator is really to listen and make sure that they've heard and understood what each party has said, and that they've checked that they've got that right. And once people feel heard, then it's easier for them to listen to the other person.
Because that then has got to go to the kids, and it's got to come from both parents, and they've got to be on the same page with it, don't they, going forward, so that those children, if it's a 50-50 split, they're getting similar parenting from both houses.
It may be some other arrangement, because every family's different, every situation's different, and what's appropriate in one case may be quite inappropriate in another. You've got parents who working overseas. There's all kinds of complications that need to be accommodated in whatever agreement they can come to.
At the end of the day, if we think about the kids and keep them number one, that's a good start. Thank you very much for stopping by. Good to see you. All right, for more information about the family disputes resolution process, just head to our website for the links. Tomorrow we'll hear from youth worker Daryl Gardner about how to let your kids know if you are separating. Coming up, they're paying tribute to the Kiwi women in World War I. Ilona Rogers and Kathy Harrop are on the couch right after this.